Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster at Foster Web Marketing, and here we are for our Foster Web Marketing Elite Academy on July 19th of 2024. And this is, well, we've done a couple of these before, but this is kind of a kicking off a new thing that we're doing, right, Jessica?
Yep.
Where we're going to be delivering all kinds of great content every month. We're going to be doing this um, to help you guys out, and it's really what's going on in the digital landscape. What's going on? How do we need to market our websites? How do we need to market ourselves completely? And we're going to cover everything. And that's what I'm really excited about. I'm going to talk about first, I'm going to talk about the myths that are out there, a lot of things that you guys might be hearing about, um, or just some things that you should be thinking about. And then I got my buddy, Alexander Scott, who is in charge of business development here at Foster Web Marketing, but he uh, started out as just a SEO guy, um, and a couple of years ago, and just worked his way up to run all of services and everything. Because this guy's brilliant, Alexander Scott. So I'm really excited to have him present to you guys about omni-channel marketing, all the different channels that you should be in if you're not. So there's opportunity out there. Um, and then I'm going to have my brother here. So my bro, Chad, is here today, everybody. And he's going to close us out with what you should be asking your web company, your agency, the questions that you should be asking them on a routine basis. So that's what we got going on today. And we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to go just, what are we doing? It just till noon, right, Jess?
Yep. Just till noon.
Okay, guys. So I don't think we even have a bathroom break in here, but you can like do what you want to do. I won't be offended.
And this is recorded, so you can share
Yeah,
this. We'll send you the recording after we wrap up today, so you can share it with your team and go bit by bit as we move through the presentation.
yeah,
Watch out
you're
for hot
probably
mics,
gonna,
right? Watch out for hot mics.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excited to dispel the myths. We've heard a lot of feedback that there's a lot of snake oil companies out there, right? A lot of marketing agencies who flub the truth, and they scare you into things that aren't true, and they tell you things that aren't true. And so we want to clear the air and tell you what actually you should be paying attention to in marketing, what actually works, and show you how we've done it for our clients and how you can do it yourself as well. So we're really excited
Yeah,
that you guys are here. Yep.
yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me just get started. I've just got a quick presentation for you guys about some of these myths that you might be hearing about. Let me go ahead and let me see if I can't show my screen. There's Alexander. Welcome, Alexander.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Why is it not showing? There we go. Okay. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep. We're good.
Okay. Okay, guys. So really, I just want to debunk some myths, but first of all, I just want to clarify the importance of digital marketing. Obviously, you're here because you understand how important it is, but you really need to know that all of your clients, prospects, they begin their search online for looking for legal services. Everybody does. So everybody, and then they educate themselves online. So even if they know about you, or if they've been referred to you, then they still go to your website and educate themselves about you. If they don't know anything about you and they're just looking for help, they're still going to go to the web to educate themselves about getting more information from somebody. Everybody goes to the web. Think about your own thing. So everybody's going to the web. It's critical that you're there and you're in all the places. And that's what we're going to be talking about too with omni-channel marketing. So, as I said, everybody's on the search engines, obviously. You got to be there too. If you're not there, your competitors are. So if you're not doing all the things that you should be doing, your competitors are. Just know that. You always have to have this in your head, this competitive spirit, that your competitors are out there doing what you're not doing. So you need to make sure that you're out there. It allows you to talk to your clients quick, fast, and it allows smaller firms to compete with bigger practices. So it levels the playing field, right? Back in the very beginning of this, when we first started getting into websites, all there was TV and yellow pages for law firms, right? And referrals, word of mouth.
Yep.
And so that's why, and small firms could not compete with the big firms that were buying double truck ads and yellow pages and whatnot. But then the internet came out, and now it's level playing field. So now small firms can do just as good as big firms in terms of putting out information. And that's one of the biggest, greatest things about the web for law firms. Okay, so the other thing is that it's better ROI than other traditional marketing methods like TV, like television, media buying. That stuff costs a lot of money, as you guys know that have done it. And it's still important to do. It's just an expensive way to get, it's an expensive channel. And when Alexander talks about omni-channel marketing, he's going to talk about that. And you have to look at the expenses of each channel and how much it costs to get clients from each one. But digitally, they're a lot less expensive to get. And you can do so much more with them online. And then you can target specifically the kind of clients that you want. You can't really do that in other marketing mediums like magazines and television and radio. You can't specifically target like you can online with geo-targeting and social media and email lists and all that stuff. So the other thing too that's really important about your website and your having a website that is 100% updated, modern, does everything it's supposed to do. It's critical for all of these reasons, and that's what we're gonna be talking about. But you want to be able to, even if you're the best lawyer in town and everybody knows you, and you're like, I don't need a website, everybody knows me. That's not true. Everybody will still go to even if they just type in your name and your brand, they're going to go to your website and check you out. Don't assume that everybody knows you. Don't assume that everybody knows how great you are. You have to put in your website what you do and the success that you've had with past clients. That's why you have to have, your case results up there, your experience, your content marketing. That's the other point of your website, is for people to come and that know you or that have heard of you or have been referred to come there, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the guy that somebody told me about. right? Because that's what we're trying to get to, is know, like, trust. Okay, the other thing is that the website is open 24/7. So that makes you like pretty much open for business 24/7 to answer questions. And that's how you want to think about it. And you want to be able to respond to contacts and inquiries 24/7, whether that's through an automated chat service, contact form, phone calls, certainly PI lawyers, you should have like immediate callbacks, somebody answering the phone immediately. I would be 24/7. That's how you need to be these days, because if you don't respond right away, they're moving on to the next person. So you've got to be open 24/7. The other thing great about digital marketing is that you can track it and analyze the results and do better. And so that's what you want to do. A lot of people, look, I've been doing marketing for a long time, sales and marketing for a long time. And everybody does this over and over. Every business, every industry, they try something. And they're like, oh, we tried to email. It didn't work for us. Or we tried pay-per-click. It didn't work for us. There's so much that goes into more than you just tried that channel. Like, what was the message? What was the timing of the message? Who did you send the message to? And marketing is such a science. So you've got to be able to measure it. And that's one of the things that you really can do very well with digital, pay-per-click, organic, social media. And that's what DSS can do for you, is tell you where your best leads are coming from so that you can get more of your best clients and stop getting time wasters. Okay. And then, of course, getting the right kinds of clients. That's what you want, not just people wasting your time, calling you up, thinking that your time is free. And after spending an hour of your time talking about their stubbed toe and that they should be getting $1 million and all that, and then you politely tell them that you can't take their case, then they run off and give you a terrible review. And that's what you want to avoid. So you want to make sure that you have the right kind of content on your website that is delivering you the right kinds of clients for you. If you want a bunch of clients, if you have free consultation and all that stuff on your website, people are going to call up and think that you're free. So you want to make sure that you have the right kind of content out there on your website, because if that's what you're doing, that's what you're going to get. Okay. All right, so let's get into the myths. I just wanted to set that up, why it's so important. But, and this is just kind of ongoing. The myth number one here is a website alone is enough. Website alone is enough for my online presence. But that's not true. It's insufficient. You've got to look, and what happens is that you're probably sitting at your desktop right now or your laptop looking at your website, and you're like, it looks good. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy. But what you don't know is, or what you're not thinking about, is everybody else, the people that are looking for you or the business that you want. Are they happy with it? Are they happy with you? Are they getting the information that they need to hire you? What does it look like on mobile? That's the big thing, guys, is that 80% of your traffic is coming to your website through mobile. And that's just going to get, just like you, everybody's on their mobile phone, right? I got mine right here, right? Everybody's got theirs right next to them right now, right? And that's what we're doing. And that's what your clients are doing, is that they're going on their phone. So how does your website look on mobile? How does it perform? How does it behave? Is it converting? Is it doing everything it's supposed to do? Because that's a whole different world. Is mobile search, mobile websites, mobile conversion. So you check it out yourself. Take a look. How does your mobile website look? Would it convert you if you were looking to hire you? Do your own due diligence on it. But anyway, you want to check that out. Law firms must have an ongoing legal strategy or digital strategy. This is not a one-time event, gang. This is a journey. So you have to continue to update it. You can't just have thrown it up years ago and then, oh, I did the website, check that box, and then that's done. You must have a strategy. And Alexander's going to talk about all of that in a little bit. You know, let me try to, it's the fun things. That's Sunday.
It's a bright morning out there.
That's pretty bad. I'm sorry, guys. See what I can do here. Okay. I'm coming to you from Rehoboth Beach today, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. All right. So omni-channel is what you want to be thinking about. And Alexander's going to go into detail about that. What is omni-channel marketing? And that's just all the different channels of marketing. He's going to go into detail on those. Because the search landscape, the digital search landscape, what you see, what people see is always changing. And it like from 1 second to the next, by the way, because Google's constantly testing stuff. So you have to be aware of all the changes and opportunities because there are opportunity knocks. And that's why you have to think omni-channel, because opportunity, there's so many opportunities that open up in the digital world for marketing, new things that Google does, or social media, this channel, that channel. And so you want to be paying attention to all of them. I'm not saying that you should do them all. I'm saying that you need to pay attention to all of them and at least test them and try them out.
And that's a big question we get, Tom, right? Like, I have to
Yeah.
refresh my website. I just did my website 5 years ago,
Yeah.
or I have to do, now I have
Yeah.
to do PPC, but it's always changing, right? Google's always changing the goal line. And so we're always reacting in a way so that we can be found on search results and things.
Right. Because consumers change. Everybody changes. So like styles change. So the way that everything works changes. And so Google's constantly updating its algorithm. It's constant. And that means that your website code needs to change to stay up to date with Google's algorithm changes. It's the way it works. It's just, you've just got to get that in your head. And you just want to be on top of it and not behind it, not like catching up. Okay. So myth number 2, SEO is all about keywords. Like there's a lot to SEO, search engine optimization. How do you get ranked for keywords? And that's really what it is like, how do I get on page 1 for the keywords that my clients are searching me for, my best clients. That's what we're all looking for. We want to be on page 1 for what my perfect client is searching for, always. That's the goal. The reality is that most perfect clients, they're onesies and twosies. They're not thousands and millions, right? And they do long tail searches. So you can't think just short keyword or vanity keywords, which we call them, like would be like, I don't know, a Delaware personal injury lawyer. It's just a vanity keyword. It's too broad, right?
Yeah.
But everybody goes for those. Virginia car accident lawyer, Fairfax, Virginia car accident lawyer. See, all these things are very broad vanity keywords. And that's what everybody focuses on. unfortunately. And I'm not saying that that's not important, because you will get cases from that. You will get cases, but not the best ones. You might every now and then, but the best ones come in through long tail organic search, hands down. I've been doing this 25 years, since the internet was born, and hands down, always the best cases come in through organic search. And it's long tail. Okay. And the other thing is that your best referral clients check you out, and you have to be optimized in order for them to find you. So when you're thinking about SEO, it's also so you can be found for your own brand. So it's not just SEO for your keywords you want to be found for, but it's SEO for your own brand. Because I can tell you what, if the more popular that you get, or the bigger that you get, the more your competitors are going to be after you, right? And they're going to buy your brand on pay-per-click. They can do that. They can buy it, buy your keyword. So you got to pay attention to that stuff. NAP consistency, name, address, and phone number consistency. That is critical for your local profile. That's another part of SEO. And that means that all of your listings, or your name, address, and phone number, need to be correct in every place on the web. Think about that. That's a big thing. It's a big job. And somebody needs to monitor that job that's a monthly monitoring job once you clean it up, because websites get updated constantly, and they get updated wrong, with the wrong information. And that messes up your local listing. All of us, if our name, address, and phone number isn't consistent, it'll mess us up for that local search. So that's critical. The other part is that you got to have backlinks, right? That, first you decide, okay, I want to come up or be on page 1 for this keyword search. You write the content for it. You optimize the page for it. Then this is the next thing, is getting backlinks for it. That's what's critical, is getting backlinks to it from other high-profile websites. Now, a lot of that stuff happens organically, and that's what you want to have happen organically, is that people link to you because you've got good content. That's the way the web's supposed to work, right? So you want that, but otherwise you're going to need to get the links to your content, to your website, not just to the homepage, to internal pages. So that's another critical piece about SEO that you're not thinking about. It's not just about adding content. You got to do backlinks too, getting links to it from other reputable websites that have a higher trust and citation flow than you do. Okay. And then it's got to be 1,000 to 2,000 words of informative content. No more days of adding, let me just put up this 200, 500 word FAQ blog post. Let me just do that. That used to work, sure, back in the day. Not anymore. Now it needs to be very informative, contextual. It needs to be like a landing page. Like every one of your pages needs to be a landing page, really. Like that is designed to convert somebody to do something into action. That's how you got to look at every page of your website now. It's like, what do I want somebody to do? Because that's what Google's doing. That's how Google is evaluating your pages. So obviously it needs to be optimized, as we discussed, for that particular keyword. That means that the keyword needs to be, and every page, by the way, you can't have one page optimized for more than 2 or 3 keywords tops. So don't expect your homepage to be number 1 for all your keywords. That's why you add different pages or different keywords you want to come up for. So you have to, if you want to have the SEO channel, organic channel, which is where you're going to get your best clients and cases gang. You need to have that full of good content. And you need to be consistent. That's the other thing, is that in all my years, happens all the time. People build a website, lawyers build a website, they get going on it, they get it going, and then they stop. They get cases and they stop. And then what happens? Cases stop coming in. It's a rough and tumble world. So you need to be consistent with your content. Every week you should be adding content. Google comes and checks out your website every day with its little robots, its little bots, comes and checks it out. And if you got a site with us, we have a site map that we feed it, the Google bots, and let them know, hey, yeah, there's a new piece of content on this website. Come check it out. And if you don't have that, then it stops coming. It'll go to your competitors if they're updating more. So that's the other trick here, is updating consistently. Okay, social media isn't important for law firms. Now, I've heard this over and over again. Social media is expected, gang. It is expected now. It is, you have to have it. You have to have a presence on social media for your brand, for your firm, for you. I'm not saying that you have to get on there and like post pictures of yourself and your family, selfies every day. I'm not saying, I don't do that. It drives me nuts, right? But your business needs to be pumping stuff out there. At the very least, you need to be putting out there your case results, your client results, your results that you've had with them. That's what you put out there. You tell those stories. That's what social media is, storytelling. And that's why people go there. It's because they want to hear stories from other people. So you go there and you tell stories about how you won cases. Use it to your advantage, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, if you just can't do it, then get somebody that can. Right? That's what 99% of everybody does, is they get somebody that can do social media because they can't do it. I'm not doing it. I got Jessica doing it.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you
Jessica.
like and subscribe and follow us on social media.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. And like I said before, and you're going to hear it over and over again, it's a mobile world, and more and more and more. I mean, like, we're already over the hump. We're already there. So you need to be everywhere mobile is. Take advantage of it. These are opportunities. Don't look at them like they're a nuisance. Look at them like opportunity, because there's a whole different world of clients in that social media world that aren't in this other social media world, right? Some people just are on Facebook. Some people are just on Instagram. Some people are just on LinkedIn, YouTube. Some people are just on Google. Some people just go to websites. Some people just do Reddit, right? You want to be in all these places. That's the great opportunity of the digital world, is to be in all of these places to market to them. It doesn't matter. And here's the big thing. It doesn't matter what you think. So get what you think out of your head and how you do business. Like, I'm 57. I don't do this social media stuff. Like, I got my teenage kids. I'm like, what the hell? They're on social media all the time. It drives me nuts, right? Like, it's a fight. We all know it. But it's here to stay. We don't have a choice. So as marketers, and this is how you need to be thinking, we have to take advantage of that as marketers, because that is where everybody is going to be going. That's where they are. That's where we have to be. Okay, and you have to build your brand awareness there on social media, right? And people will trust you when if they don't see you. Here's the other thing too, especially social media people. If you don't have a social media account or it hasn't been updated recently, that's another thing, right, Jess?
Mhm.
That's another thing. Like, oh, they last did a post whenever,
Yep.
however long ago. That's not good.
It looks worse. Yeah.
It works worse,
Yep.
right? So you have to stay updated with it. Okay. So social media is critical.
And I think with social media, some people don't want to do it, but if there was a room full of people who you could talk to about your business and you just didn't want to go in that room because it was purple, that's like, I don't want to do Facebook because I just don't like Facebook. That's where people are. It doesn't matter if you don't like it and it's not your style, but it's an opportunity for you to get in front of a lot of people and show your human side. I think that's something that we kind of forget too. It gives you a chance to show your human side and build that connection with people. So you get to show family, friends, you out for a walk, you playing pickleball, whatever you do. And then your clients are like, hey, he's just like me. He does pickleball. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, he's a dad. I feel a connection. I'm a dad too. So it gives you a different way to market yourself too.
100%. And like I said, there's a lot of agencies that will do social media for you if you just can't do it. I get it. I understand. It's okay. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up if you can't. That's why you delegate that out to somebody else that will do it for you. Just make sure that they're doing a good job, right? Make sure that you're measuring it. Make sure that they're presenting the brand the way that you want them to be doing it, that they're doing it consistently, that it is getting you results. You want to make sure that you're reviewing that all the time. Are you posting the right stuff? What stuff have you posted that got you clients and cases so you can do it again? What stuff have you posted that got you a bunch of nonsense? So don't post that anymore, right? So you got to pay attention to that stuff with social media. So these are just some examples of great social media posts by like this is John Griffith Law, like just some examples of different kind of posts that he's done. Len Spada up in Boston there. It's really about, you want to introduce your team, all the people in your firm. Even if it's just you and a paralegal, you still want to introduce yourselves. Like, this is what to expect. That's what people are looking for when they go online. They're looking for more information. And people, many people, a huge majority will just go right to your LinkedIn. They don't even go to your website. They just LinkedIn. I'm going to go look at LinkedIn or Facebook, not looking at your website. So that's why it's just so important to keep this updated. Okay, here's a big one that I love to gnaw on, which is that Google prefers WordPress, because this is a big myth that popped up a couple of years ago. It drives me nuts. So WordPress is a very popular CMS, content management system, that allows you to update your website. WordPress started out as a blogging platform. You can update your blog. It's open source, and you can put in plugins, and it's free, and you can get templates, and it's not free if you want it to be done right, but you can include something together and make something look like a website for free. I'm not saying that it's going to work. It won't, but you can do it. But you need pros still, so it still costs something. And you need people to do it right, because it's janky. It's a janky system, WordPress. It's hacked all the time. that's the thing, is that you need a professional to build you a website in WordPress because it gets hacked all the time. Every day it gets hacked. So if you've got your plugins in there and they're plugged into your case management software or your client, your CRM, your email platform, whatever, then you could leak your data through this. So like you gotta think smart, because it is not it's wide open for hackers, and because it's the most popular system, it gets attacked constantly, right? So it's actually the opposite of preference for Google, right? So much code goes into building a WordPress website. Extraordinarily more code goes into it, making the page speed or the site speed slower than if it were built a custom website, because it has to be built around WordPress. That has to be built around for everybody, everything, right? It needs to meet everybody's needs. So it's just a bigger code mess that Google has to get through. And that's when you do a page speed. And what is it, Jessica? You can go to pagespeed.com. Is that what it is?
I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah.
We'll
I'll
drop
put
it in the chat.
Yep.
Do you run your own page speed on your website, and it'll tell you how fast your site is for mobile and desktop. And a lot of that has to do with code. Okay. And how your website, the architecture of your website, how it is built. So our website's DSS. Look, built DSS before WordPress. I built DSS for law firms. I mean, that's the first thing I did. It's the first clients I had. So I built a system that was for law firms from the ground up. And so that's what our websites are built on in DSS, is for law firms, period. It's not a kludged Frankenstein system that WordPress is, which is a blogging platform that has been Frankensteined into a website. Nope. DSS has been for law firms since the very beginning. And it's just easier to use, easier to maintain everything on your website. And all the top companies use the same platform, Cold Fusion, which is the same thing that you're on, that our clients are on, that DSS is on. Pepsi, I'm not a big fan of Pepsi, but hey, Pepsi's a big company, right? They're on it. AT&T, I use AT&T. That's a big company. They're not a dumb company. They wouldn't be on the same platform that we're on if it wasn't good. Speaking of good, Apple, come on now, maybe the best company in the world. They are on our system, and I like to compare DSS to and our websites to Apple all the time, because we are a very we protect our websites. We protect them. We don't leave them open for people to like hack, which is what WordPress is. It's just wide open. But with our websites, they are closed. They are protected. They're secure. And that's why these other big giant companies, Bank of America, Apple, tons of others, tens of thousands of companies. I mean, Cold Fusion is owned by Adobe. They're supporting it. And WordPress is owned by nobody. It's just like a thing out there that just open source. People just, well, I think it's owned by somebody, but anyway, you get it. So when you hear that, dispel that myth. And we've got tons of other documentation that proves that WordPress is not better for Google. So don't fall for that. guys. Okay, here's another one. Digital marketing results are immediate. They're not. Sometimes they are. I gotta say, sometimes you make a change and immediate things happen. It's great, wonderful. But they're not always the case. You'll hear from your buddies, oh, I did this and I got $1 million case. And you do that and you don't get $1 million case. That's just kind of how it goes. It's like fishing. It's a lot like fishing, really. Being on the web is a lot like fishing. And you have to consider all the different channels. Not all of them are immediate. Some are faster than others. For instance, you can get results, meaning traffic from pay-per-click very quickly. Like if you just turn on AdWords, you're going to get stuff. You're going to get traffic. Same thing doing ads on social media. If you turn on your ads, start paying for ads, then you're going to get traffic immediately. It costs more. That costs more money. Okay, but you want quicker results. All right, you got to pay for that. So pay-per-click generally costs more money. Organic, not as much. Organic is about time, putting time in, because you got to write the content. It's got to get optimized. It's got to get found. But those generally are the better kinds of clients, but it's not immediate. And you also need to determine which channels are getting you the best clients. So that's the other, like, what digital marketing channel are getting me the best and what are wasting my time? Because I'm telling you, man, we like lawyers in all my years, and Chad will talk about this too, is, like everybody complains about not getting the best clients, like from their website, right? Oh, it's not getting me the best clients. Not the ones that I want. Well, but those are the keywords that you're advertising for those people that are coming to you. So you need to review that and consider it too. So it's not immediate. You got to work on that to make it better. A lot of that could be because of the content you put out there. A lot of that could be because of the your intake process. What is your what is your intake? Do you have free consultation anywhere on your website that people think that you are free? Things like that. So just know that this is a journey that you're going to be in. It's a marketing journey, and there's always new things being added to it, as you've seen. If you've been doing this for a bit, I've been marketing for 25, 30 years. And, like back in my day, we had a phone and magazines, TV, radio, right? That was the medium. Now we have the internet and all of and social media, etc. Anyway, you get it. It's a journey, and you have to stay on the journey in order for it to be successful. And you have to OODA loop your efforts, meaning you have to review everything. So you want to go back and make sure what worked, what didn't work, what was good, what was bad for all of your different channels. Okay.
And Tom, I think it's important to have a coach or a mentor or someone you can turn to kind of divide your channels and plan out. If something's going to take a little longer, fine, but what can we do? What channel should we do right now to get immediate results while, SEO is cooking in the background? So I think if you're not sure where to start or how to look at those channels strategically to say, okay, I'm going to do PPC right now. That way in 3 months, my SEO will be rocking and rolling. If you don't have someone to help you with that, or you definitely need someone. If you don't know, if you're unsure of where to kind of start, definitely look for a trusted resource to ask, how can I utilize all these channels strategically so that I'm not waiting 6 months for results. So you can do things that will get you results quickly while you wait for other things to kind of build up, I think. So it's important to have someone, or ask someone, ask us, ask your colleagues, ask, a mastermind group that you're in, but make sure that you're talking to people about how to get results and how to work those channels strategically.
100%, Jessica. I'm glad you brought that up. I would just caution you to not ask your buddy lawyers that don't know what they're doing either.
True.
But I agree, you want to reach out to a trusted resource that knows what they're doing. Like we have a fractured, what is it? I always forget.
CMO.
Fractional, right? I always say fractured. Fractional CMO. Sorry, gang. Fractional CMO, which is where somebody can help you, that knows what they're doing, that has been through this before, can help you set this up. Everybody's got a budget, right? You all have a budget. We all have budgets for their marketing. And you have to set it up in a certain way. And you can't do it all at once, right? You've got to do what makes sense, that gets you the biggest bang for your buck early on, so that you can reinvest and increase the different channels and increase in the ones that are getting you the best clients. But you need help, because you're the lawyer. You got to be doing the law. That's what you don't need to become a marketing specialist. I mean, I guess you can if you want, but I don't advise it. It's too much to it. I advise that you work with somebody that you can trust, that puts all these things in place. You just need to know about all these things, and you need to communicate with this individual and let them know which channels are providing the best clients and cases. That's your part. It's like, okay, I got to get feedback on, like, okay. And that means that you've got to ask the people, that become clients, the leads that you're talking to, how did you hear about me? And they're going to say, oh, I'm on your website. Well, then you got to say, okay, well, what page are you on? What are you looking at? Right. And I need to know that detail. That's what you want to know for a good client or a bad lead. And that's the critical piece, is having that conversation with somebody that can deliver more of the good ones and less of the bad ones. That's what you need. Okay. So on this, and this is what we're saying here, is that all lawyers,
Be careful.
I know. I've been doing this a long time, guys. I worked with thousands and thousands of law firms over the years, and has Chad and Alexandra and Jessica. And we know that how you think and what you assume. And the assumption is always that the best cases are coming from your vanity keywords. And those are the short keywords like Fairfax car accident lawyer, or car accident attorney near me, or coming up, from your LSA ads or your pay-per-click ads, keywords. And what we're saying here is, I'm not saying that you're not getting cases from that, but across the board, these generally bring in the less desirable cases. I'm not saying that you're not making money on them. You can. But they're not as good as cases that come in through other channels, like your referral channel, which your best cases will always come from, by the way. Best cases and clients will always come from your referral channel. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Because most people poo-poo the referral channel, like, oh, I get all my best cases from referrals. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, I want more from the web. Like, you're not going to get better clients from the web than you're going to get through referral. So what you want to do is you want to spice up referrals, get more referrals. So you want to do more in that channel, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so most of these people that come in that through these vanity keywords and the pay-per-click stuff and the LSAs, they tend to be the cheapest. They tend to want free legal service. And it's also the most volatile, that area, because that's what Google manipulates the most, because that's where they make the most money. If you've been around for a long time, you've seen the change in Google as it is more aggressively putting in advertising over organic everywhere. And if you look at the landscape search, or the search landscape, I like to say, and do any kind of search, you'll see that it's sponsored everywhere. And organic is pushed down. When Google first came out, it was all organic, right? That's what put it on the map. But we knew, greedy. And so Google's done very well with its pay-per-click, its AdWords, and its new LSAs, the local service ads, that a lot of attorneys have done well with, but that's also very volatile. You have to be very careful with that, and not rely on that one thing. That's the thing, is that you cannot rely on these one channels. So only, like, I've just put 10% of your budget should be focused on this. Your budget should be spread across the channels that Alexander's going to talk about. And this, boom. Okay, next slide here. So I was just talking about, like, all our best clients and cases come from referral. Like, I have this as a myth. Like, I hear this like that's a bad thing. And people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm not getting cases from the web like my buddy Fred is. I'm getting all my best clients from referral. Well, that's a great thing. That means that you're a good lawyer and that you're doing a good job, and that you have a good relationship with other lawyers. There's nothing wrong with marketing to other lawyers. So spicing up your referral network. So you should have a marketing mind where you're marketing not only to the consumer or the regular person, I'll say, non-lawyer, that got in an accident or needs an estate plan or divorce or whatever, but also those attorneys out there that do something different than you, that are in your network, that are in your neighborhood, that are in your church, that go that you associate with, that are in the same local bar you went to school with. All of these people, take them to lunch, get to know them. Look, people buy from people they like. The only way that you're going to get a referral from these people is if they like you, and you're just selling them. It's no like trust. And so you want to sell these referral sources just like you're going to sell your clients, right? And by the way, they're checking out your website too, because they want to make sure that they're referring somebody of good good caliber, it's not going to come back to haunt them, right? So they're checking you out as well. And those people that they refer are going to be checking out your website. So it better, all this better line up. So you want to make the most of your list. Hit that list. Handwritten notes to other lawyers. Congratulations on your case. I read about it or heard about it. Congratulations. Blah, 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 blah. Build these relationships with other referral sources. They will get, that is another channel that Alexander will talk about, I'm sure. But don't poo-poo the referrals. Make the most of it. And the other thing is those reviews. That's critical, is getting your reviews, because people are going to make it. Okay, so Tom said I should use you. I'm going to go check this out and make sure that Tom knows what he's talking about. That's what they're going to do. So what are they going to do? They're going to go look and make sure that you've got all your reviews out there. So that's another thing. Don't poo-poo your reviews. Okay. So I think that I went over my time as usual, but not by much, Jessica.
No, you did perfect, honestly. Lined right up.
Right.
Proud of you.
Okay, so like I hope that I have teed this up very well for my man Alexander Scott, who is just exemplary, knows his stuff. I've learned so much from this guy, and he is one of those individuals that is a constant learner and educates himself. He puts out our weekly, here's what's going on in the digital landscape, right? And that's what we put out for the World of Marketing News. Jessica puts out. And that comes because Alexander's got to be on top of everything on what's going on. And he is. It's fascinating and an exciting time. It always is, but it's really an exciting time now. So without further ado, Alexander Scott, please do your thing. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom. So as Tom mentioned, I will go into the omni-channel marketing aspect, the importance of it. Let me go ahead and share my screen now. Okay. Hopefully this is showing okay.
Looks good.
The importance of omni-channel marketing in 2024. Now the 2024, it should be an asterisk on that because truthfully, omni-channel marketing has always been important. It just looked different, years back. It might have been radio, billboards, commercials, things like that. Obviously, those things are still apparent, but user attention is in so many areas now that it just, like we said, just looks different. So with that, one of the first things that we want to talk about is, winning in an omni-channel world demands excelling in all of these channels, as Tom mentioned, from in-person to hybrid, referral opportunities, digital self-serve, and marketplaces, especially during these, during uncertain economic times and poor client experience and whatnot, right? So first important thing, don't get left behind. This is a big one, especially for not even just business owners, but really everyone, because we get so caught up in what we're used to. As a lawyer, as a business owner, you get caught up in what's worked, what's brought the best cases, what has felt the best for some people, like Tom mentioned, it's been referrals. For others, it's been organic. I have to have this top spot because historically that's granted me the best cases, right? The thing with that is, of course, you do want to double down on that, but also you want to just keep your mind open because things are always changing, especially in the digital marketing world. And again, when we talk about users, user attention is everywhere. So you can't really afford to get caught up in just one channel, which is the importance of what we're explaining here. So of course, don't get left behind. In this era, firms must adopt omni-channel marketing strategies to remain profitable and competitive. Consumers are not tied to just a single platform or device. So of course, it's important to integrate these various channels, and law firms can gather valuable data, understand user preferences, and deliver this personalized content, which I'll explain more about later. With this, we're talking about a holistic strategy, right? You want to maximize your reach, but you also want to maximize your effectiveness. If you are, again, just tied to the one channel or even just the two channels, you may be able to maximize the reach in those channels. But again, sometimes it takes the average user or potential client, potential prospect, 7 to 9 times of seeing your brand, of seeing your message in order to actually convert. And what we're talking about is quality cases. The people who actually have a problem, right? They want justice for whatever happened, or they again have a problem that they want to get solved. There's a trust factor that has to be established. And for some, you can hit a page and then the story brand speaks to them so much. As Tom mentioned and Jessica mentions as well, if you're, a dad and you're showing your family, or you're a straightforward person who's very serious and just wants to get the job done. When you explain that messaging, a person can hit your site, hit your social media, or just see you on YouTube, immediately resonate, and then they want to convert with you. Other times it, again, might take 7 to 9 times of them seeing that same messaging in order to convert. So that's really what we're speaking towards here. And what we preach, is just don't get left behind in that aspect. All right, so maximizing profit with omnichannel marketing. What I believe happens a lot, especially when you hear things from other agencies or marketing gurus, is that it's all about the reach, and let's extend the reach and let more people know you. Of course, that's what we're talking about. But here at Foster, what we preach is we want to maximize profit. We want to increase your revenue. It's really all about conversion-driven strategies. That's what it's based off of. If you're not increasing your case amount, if you're not enhancing your practice areas, being able to grow to the multiple locations, or even if you tell us that your goal is to retire in the next 5 years and you have to get to a certain level to do that, if we aren't hitting those fiscal goals with you and for you, we aren't really doing our job properly. So with this, even though we're talking about omnichannel marketing, that's always going to be the forefront and the priority. What is omnichannel, right? The answer, basically, it's a marketing approach that addresses the user experience in each channel. Desktop, browser, mobile, retail's one, social media, podcasts, things like that. For a firm or a practice, this means establishing multiple touch points that maintain consistency and messaging across the board. And you want to know the interesting part? This is being done to all of us on a daily basis by hundreds of companies. So it's already being done, right? What we want to talk about here is we're saying omni-channel. You might have heard another term called multi-channel. And the differences between those two is that multi-channel, the channels that you have are basically disconnected in that part. So you're running a social media campaign, your website looks a certain way, and then maybe you're running ads. Multi-channel would be where none of those 3 things are connected, but you are using them. Omni-channel means that you're using them cohesively and you're streamlining your market and your messaging. So you're saying that, okay, one of the things is I want to increase my case amount, and I want to also build a referral base or something like that, right? If that's the case, then you're going to go to social media, you're going to build a campaign around that that's going to attract that type of user. You're also going to place your website and structure it in a certain capacity to also gauge to that type of user. And then on the ads that you're running, you're going to do the same thing. So it's cohesive, and that's what makes it omnichannel marketing. They're all benefiting each other in that regard to get to that one goal. All right, deeper personalization and providing that. In a recent study, 90% of users say that messages from companies that are not personally relevant to them are seen as annoying. As demographics skew younger, the necessity for personalized ads, messaging, and content is even more important. When a user visits your site because they need legal help, the quality cases are not just justified with any attorney to seek justice for them. They need to be sold on who you are and what your brand represents. That's the big thing. Again, going all the way back to the story brand aspect. How your website structure is super critical. Before, let's say about 10 years ago, 10 plus, you could have a sort of business card website, and that would be enough to get the job done, because the user they didn't really need to get sold on who you are, because they weren't getting sold in a bunch of different places. They weren't turning on their TV and getting sold, or on their phone and having all these applications and opportunities thrown in their face. So it was a bit different then. At this point, they need to be sold on you. So that's what we talk about with the story brand, and the website being looked at as a channel, and again, just maximizing that channel. Again, at the top, it says that users are just pretty much annoyed with seeing things that aren't relevant to them. So that's what we want to speak towards. Anytime that we've ran PPC for people, or put together the website, the questions that we ask, we go through a questionnaire first, because we don't just do cookie cutter, right? It's about, who are you? What are you looking to accomplish? What's your messaging? Are you going quantity? Are you going quality? What speaks to you the most? Because that will be what we have to market. That's the biggest thing for us. So personalization is one of the bigger keys in today's time in 2024.
And Alexander, I think to that point, we get a lot of questions from our clients. Like, I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to post the same thing to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And it's like, no, each channel has to be created in a way that speaks to that audience. And I think a lot of people miss that, and they're just doing random acts of marketing, right? Like, well, I do social media. And it's like, do you put up the same thing that you like, your static post is not going to work on TikTok. So what's the point of doing that? And so utilizing your efforts to where it makes sense in these channels to speak to that audience in that channel, right?
For sure. And the other thing to double down on that is having different expectations for each channel, because Facebook, you're not, especially as an attorney, you're not often looking for converters to happen on Facebook. Now, granted, if you run the appropriate campaign, you will get people to convert, but you have to sometimes really look at each channel as for what it could be worth. So for Facebook, it could be about getting the message out there, ensuring that when a user hits your website, that if they go on their Facebook, they're going to see you again, and we are maintaining those multiple touch points. For Instagram, for TikTok, Instagram and TikTok especially, we're not looking for them to convert. Again, it's just multiple touch points. You want to just use those platforms to really spread the message. Now, if we're talking Google Ads, if we're talking, the website, those are some of the higher conversion-based platforms. And so for those, it's knowing the audience and also knowing what that platform brings. Ones like YouTube, we know that YouTube isn't ultimately meant to be a converter. It's to spread a message. It's to inform, right? It's to ultimately give someone that virtual face-to-face feeling as if they know more about you. So, as Jessica said, it's knowing the audience. It's also knowing the platform and learning about that platform's capability so that you can maximize that.
And then bringing them back to your website, which is your converter, right? So these channels are like fishing poles, like Tom said. So you want to have these fishing poles in the water, and you always want to drive them back to your website. It's your controlled environment. That's where you can set up landing pages with conversion calls to action and place them strategically. So all of these methods, all of these channels are set up to bring people back to your website too. So posting on social media, putting up a YouTube video, doing PPC, but if it's not linked correctly to a landing page that's designed to convert, you're only doing half of the marketing. And so when you say, maybe this didn't work, PPC didn't work for me, well, was it set up strategically from top to bottom to convert? Were they driven back to a landing page that had the same messaging, that had calls to action? And oftentimes, I think that's where people kind of miss the buck when it comes to the different channels, right, Alexander?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you pretty much hammered it out there. The build out of a landing page, really, omni-channel is what we're talking about, cohesiveness. So we're talking about making sure that everything is connected appropriately. So if you have a campaign that you are running on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, you want to make sure that if you have a clickable link, if you have something in which you want a user to take action, whatever that action is, it has to be cohesive. Studies show that if a user is looking at something about personal injury, then they click on that, and then it takes them to something about estate planning, they're going to be confused and then back out immediately, right? So cohesiveness is really the answer here. And that's how we're going to bring everything together. So with maximizing profit, this is a secret we can share. Omnichannel marketing significantly boosts profitability for law firms by providing a cohesive and client-centric approach to communication. By leveraging multiple platforms such as social media, email, websites, and in-person consultations, law firms can engage potential clients more effectively and consistently. This approach ensures that clients receive timely and relevant information, building trust and credibility, right? So what are some of the things that we're outlining here? Cohesiveness, streamlining marketing, building trust, and building credibility. This is multi-layered because for a potential prospect, trust and credibility are huge. On Google's side of things, they look at trust and credibility a bit different. The user is going off of the emotional connection, like they feel good when they talk to you, they feel like you can actually help them out. Google is looking at trust and credibility saying, okay, can I trust that your website, your content is actually going to provide reliable and truthful information? How does your domain authority look? Are you posting to your site regularly? Are you active in it? All these different things that we can go into more detail about. But on different layers, whether it's Google's bots and their software or an actual human who, emotionally tends to buy things or get sold into things and acquire services. It's all in that same regard, and we want to make sure we cover our different bases. Additionally, omnichannel marketing allows for better tracking and analysis of client interactions, enabling law firms to tailor their services to meet specific needs and preferences. And as a result, this leads to increased client satisfaction, higher conversion rates, and ultimately greater profitability through repeat business and referrals, right? So the referrals, we know, a client has a great experience, they get the justice that they deserve and everything works out, they feel good, and so they're going to refer you. Of course, that's what we want. When they do refer you, you're counting on two things, and Tom mentioned this earlier. You're counting on the good word that the person is going to put out to make sure that their referral is viable. The other part is they are going to visit your website, right? So they want to make sure that that messaging is consistent and that it's not just, oh, you said that they were great, but I got to their website and it feels a bit, I don't know, aloof or scammy. It feels weird, right? So you want to make sure that those things connect. And that's what we're talking about here. It's how do we strengthen these client interactions? How do we start the client interaction and really just strengthen that journey, which is if they're in person or they're on a phone, that's all up to you. It's how you talk to them. It's how you conduct business and all that stuff. But it does start oftentimes a lot earlier from that, which is the social media, the website, the YouTube, things like that, email marketing even. It starts a lot earlier. So how do we get that messaging out there? How do we build that trust and that credibility? And ultimately, how do we get them to convert quicker? Because as we all know, there are times when a client can, or a prospect can hit a website, they'll be ready to convert and take action, and that's great. Other times, we hear this a lot where a law firm doesn't want to be the fifth law firm that the user called, because they know that by the time they're the fifth person, it's low quality. They've gotten a lot of no's and they're just looking for, hey, I just need somebody to help me. I don't care who it is, right? We want to cut through that. We want to be the first one to call. If it's not a case, it's not a good case, it's not a good case, and you drop it. But when you're the first person, you can at least assess that, beat everyone else to it, and maybe you identify an opportunity to where you don't take that case in-house, but you can refer it out. And again, that's just more profitability and all that, and just increasing that. So that's what we're talking about here. Tom's, we're 25 years into it, right? We have this experience, we have this expertise, and it comes from really just caring about our client success, because we know that's the ultimate driving factor. All right, how we've dominated the search landscape. Now, Tom did bring this up. What are some things that we've done? We build industry-leading website and pages. This is huge because we're talking about infrastructure. What we often see as the user is we see the front end, we see the design, we see the placement of bios and case results and all that great stuff. This is double-sided because the infrastructure part speaks to your sitemap structure, it speaks to your navigation, it speaks to your coding, your schema, it speaks to the things that you can't see as the user. You can view page source, but even then it doesn't tell you the complete story, right? So when we say we build industry-leading websites and pages, it's not just the design aspect, it's the infrastructure. It's ensuring that the performance is fast. It's ensuring that when Google's bots assess our websites, that they're falling in love because they're like, oh, this checks all the boxes that I needed to check. So that's what we mean. Another thing is a strong organic strategy. You know the importance of having a strong organic presence. The how is what separates us and from anyone else respectively. The how is big on that. You can go on Amazon and get SEO related books. You can watch YouTube's about how to get the top spot and all that. It won't tell the complete picture for a few different reasons, because when we say strong organic strategy, we don't just mean that for this vanity term, estate planning lawyer, personal injury lawyer, business litigation attorney. We're not just saying that for those you pop up number one. Of course, that's great. But what does the user search landscape look like? It looks like queries. It looks like questions. It looks like long tail keywords. It looks like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, this just happened. Do I actually have a case? Hey, what's the next action to do X, Y, and Z? Google is already ahead of this because they see all of the searches, right? So a strong organic strategy means that you don't just pop up number one for a term that some marketing guru said you need to be number one for to receive leads. It's about knowing your demographic. It's about knowing your practice area. What have your best cases looked like? How can we map that out for you so that we can repeat that process? Local map pack, right? A lot of firms and attorneys, they are aware of how important this is, because typically when we're looking at the search landscape, and I'll show you kind of some images on that, we know that the map pack is typically at the top. Sometimes it's before the organic results, and sometimes it's a little bit after. It varies a bit. But that map pack is important for a few different reasons. Google has now shifted towards convenience for the user. So what that means is that if you're located in New York or Manhattan, let's say, instead of them showing a firm in Queens or showing a firm in Brooklyn, they're going to try to prioritize the firms that are in Manhattan because they want to offer convenience for the user. So that means that in those top three opportunities that you have in that map pack, you want to be one of those three, preferably the one, right? Because again, that's just more real estate. That's just more opportunity that gives the user the ability to see your GMB page, which will show the reviews you've gotten. It'll show photos, hopefully, of your office if you keep it updated. It'll show the services you offer, the products that you offer. It'll do a lot of the work that we talk about on the website if they come across the website as well. So that GMB position is super important, and that's what we do. Now, I did just talk about this briefly, the vanity versus the long tail keyword. We know that users convert with both aspects, but it can be argued that long tail search results warrant the high value cases, while vanity results garner visibility and volume cases, but we want to get you both. The thing with organic that sometimes is often missed is we can't predict organically what the user will search. Like we can try to predict, right? But sometimes we won't get it to be super accurate, because we can say, typically if a user searches personal injury lawyer, has a high search volume, they have an issue, they'll get it solved. But we can't predict if a user doesn't even know what that means, and they just type in, my foot was ran over or something. They type in something like that, right? We don't often think we need to put those terms or link something like that within the website because it doesn't seem relevant, but it's relevant to the user, which then could be relevant to you if they actually are looking to convert. So you want to make sure you cover both of those bases. For us internally, we look at things historically. We look at the metrics. We'll take a look at Search Console and see what some of the recent searches for your website have been. We even build a funnel that's saying, okay, this lead came in and it was a high value case. Where did they come from? Okay, they came from Google. They look like they converted at this day around 10 a.m. or something like that. we create a funnel through GA4 as well as Search Console that says, okay, it looks like the user came in through this source, they came in through this page, they probably typed this search query that's related to this page that they converted on. So we need to then create more content based on that search query so that we can then get more users like that. And basically if what you're probably getting now is that there's so many ways to carve this. So there's so many ways to achieve what we're talking about here, that to just focus on one area is basically just limiting your capabilities as a law firm. The other part, or the last part, legal profile optimization. We can't stress this one enough. Credible citations that feature NAP, name, address, phone number, along with business descriptions and services are a strong piece of high domain authority and trust building with Google. It's the same as when you are looking to hire somebody or when you were looking to apply for different jobs, checking the references. That's what Google is doing. It's checking valuable and viable references to say, okay, I like this site. They are speaking on a few different things that it looks like users are interested in. Where else are they featured? Are they on Facebook? They use that one as a big one. Are they on Chamber of Commerce? Are they on Brown Book? Are they on Yellow Pages? Things like that. So you can't neglect those attorney profiles because Google is using that to check your references to determine whether or not you should be a site that they should feature at the top of their organic or even their map pack.
I think it's important to note too that sometimes we're just like how when you go on vacation and you come back to your own house and you walk in and you're like, oh, that's what my house smells like. We all get a little like nose blind. We get a little marketing blind too. You're on your website, you're in your marketing all the time that it's hard to see maybe what you're missing. So I just wanted to offer you guys a free marketing analysis. You can have one of our team members go in and look at it from a strategic standpoint. We're looking at all of your name, address, and phone numbers. We're looking at your backlink. We're looking at historical data. If you would like someone to give your marketing strategy a fresh look, a fresh analysis, then reach out to us. I put coaching at Foster Web Marketing in the chat below. Send us an email. We'd be happy to help you out and give you a fresh perspective so that you know what you're actually doing and what you're missing out on and kind of what the user experience is. I always tell our clients here, have someone in your house look at your website. What do they think? Because you're on it all the time. You're like, it looks great. It's amazing. Now I can find everything. And it's like, you're on your website all the time. You know where to click. But how does someone just out of the blue, what is their experience on your website? And we're always trying to make the user happy and the bots happy. And it's a blend between the two because you need to have a great user experience, but you also need to be found by Google. So reach out to us if you want a fresh look at your marketing strategy.
It's a reminder to go get some Febreze when we're at the end of the day here, Jessica. Thank you.
Exactly.
Sorry, Alexander.
No, you're fine. That's an important note. I'm glad you mentioned that, Jessica. All right. So more on the search landscape. Let's talk about real estate a bit. The current real estate for search. So, Tom mentioned this, right? You see sponsor, you see different things that pop up. This is kind of a snapshot of what we're seeing, but this is subject to change because Google is always evolving and they're showing different people different things more often than not. So the current real estate for search, as we see here, the amount of current availability in Google search is limited and it's becoming more limited. And that's just on desktop. On mobile, it's even half that. The importance of capturing user attention with different channels is more important than ever. So what we see here is you do a search, you'll typically see some paid results. You might see an organic feature here on the right-hand side, and then you'll see the organic search result features, and then you'll see like more organic here, right? Now, this organic feature is the suggestion box that Google has. So you might search something about how do I change my tire, and Google is saying, how do tires hold up for fall? How do tires hold up for the winter? It's asking different things to try to enhance the user search and basically just keep them on that platform as a means to get more information about them and things like that, right? So with the search landscape, real estate wise, you have to think about how are users typically going to react to seeing so many different options for a search. Now, what we heard from the CEO of Google, or the new CEO, is that it's all over the place, right? Some people were worried about, oh, AI is taking over, which I'll talk more about. The AI is taking over. Should we be worried? Should we be XYZ? His response to that was that different users respond to different things. So some users will see the organic search and they'll say, I'm going to skip past the sponsor, go to organic because I don't want to be sold. You'll have other people where, and Google is recognizing this because they're changing the appearance of the sponsor results, right? Before it was, hey, we're trying to sell you, click here, right? It didn't say that, but it might as well have. So people would skip past it.
Mhm.
But now it's a bit more hidden, right? You'll see some site links and things that are added to where it actually looks like that it's an organic result. And it'll capture that user because the user is just saying, I have this issue that I really need to solve. A loved one got into an accident. I lost a loved one. I need to get some justice. So they're just looking to get justice. They're just going to take action. They're not going to do a bunch of scrolling because emotions are dialed up and they're just looking to get some answers, right? The other aspect is this search generative experience. Now, I'll talk more about kind of what this means, but this is basically the AI overview. So again, the real estate is just shrinking even more. Probably what you've seen by now is this Google AI overview. Some history on this, or just backstory. Google is now adopting AI overview within their search landscape. This pushes organic results even further down the page. Google knows that the best search results and the best users tend to ask search question style queries. Therefore, they want to provide quick answers with cited references, right? So again, real estate is shrinking because instead of a user saying, how do I file a personal injury claim, and them providing organic results, they're just going to try to provide the answer with the AI overview, which is kind of that search generative experience. They're just looking to get answers for that user. So what that means is that the AI is going to pull different information from different sites to provide that answer. Instead of Google saying, here's 10 different websites and different options for the user to go to, they're going to probably cite 3 different websites that they feel has the best information for what the user just searched. And then that'll be it, right? So again, if we're talking about a user who wants to scroll down to the bottom, which that percentage is shrinking, then sure, they'll skip past that and then you'll be fine. But if you do have someone who is looking to just get the answer right away, they see 3 different options that are posed to them and they're just going to pick one of the 3. If you're not one of the 3, then what's the visibility for your firm going to look like? How are you going to get conversions from that search landscape, right? This is what we're talking about as far as staying ahead of the curve and not wanting to get left behind. Think about, let me scroll down a bit more. Think about how AI is here, how most of us have already adapted AI in some form or fashion. Through ChatGPT, through Claude, like it's helped me out. It's helped everyone here out, right? When it comes to emailing, when it comes to sometimes content for the website, just being able to sometimes say the right thing while you put a little bit of your own style and your own messaging in there to make sure it's not super duplicated content. It's already here. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was just gonna, back you up there, and like AI, whether we like it or not, it's here to stay.
Yep.
And you've got to take advantage of it. You have to look at it as an opportunity. And that's exactly what Alexander's been bringing up, all these opportunities to do better, right? To improve your marketing. And it's just how to take advantage of the new way things are, as quickly as possible. That's what you want to be able to do.
Absolutely. It's more important than ever. And the thing with marketing and staying ahead of the curve is basically what I like to refer to as just reading the tea leaves, right? If we know that AI is really helping us in a lot of different ways, if we know that instead of scouring 20 different websites to get an answer about something, I'm just going to type in something in AI and get that response, you can imagine that users are probably going to want to do the same thing. They're not going to want to scour different websites to get an answer. They're going to want that answer right in front of them. Google, as well as quite a few other heavy hitters in the AI world, they are recognizing this and they're trying to take advantage of that. Because again, it's all about convenience. Let's go back to what I mentioned before. So many things are coming at us. Before it was, billboards, but you'd have to be driving to see it. It was commercials, but you'd have to turn on your TV to see it. And, let's say it was also probably calls and the telemarketers calling you, but even that was a bit easier to thwart. Now it's a lot more difficult because our phones are pretty much mini laptops, right? So there's so much visibility, there's so much access happening on the phone. We go to the desktop, the same thing is happening. And because of different companies and websites being able to enable cookie tracking, which is basically being able to take a user who hits the website, have another touch point on social media or maybe YouTube, etc. It's really like you can't escape some companies because they're so heavy into those channels and they know omni-channel marketing is a thing. We say all this to say, if we scroll back up here, this search landscape, taking advantage of it and making sure you don't get tied to just one channel, because Google can one day say, all right, organic seems to get less visibility, less clicks than the other two boxes that we have here. So we're going to push that down a little bit further. We're going to maximize paid search because these paid ads seem to get a lot of clicks. They get a lot of visibility and users are actually responding to it. So we're going to make the paid search even bigger, right? That hasn't happened yet. But again, you always want to be flexible. When you're not tied to just one channel, you ensure that should anything change in the search landscape and social media, or even with how users are on their phones and trying to find information, that you are not affected by that so severely that you have to then reorganize the whole playbook and try to recover. All right. So let's go back a little bit to infrastructure and why we recognize that law firms are falling in love with DSS. It's just the leading centralized ecosystem. From site to server, we offer world-renowned flexibility and customization to assist with any level of expansion. Most importantly, the ability to integrate with other platforms seamlessly adds more legs to the topics that we're speaking about today. Legal marketing can be a very competitive landscape, to say the least, with each practice in the country fighting for the top spot of Google results and user attention. Every shred of effort put into your marketing approach is what sets you apart. From site to server, we have the best minds ensuring that our clients' site's infrastructure is like none other. Because again, we know the importance of omnichannel marketing. We know that it doesn't just stop at, my website looks pretty, I have a bunch of call to action, so I'm good to go. It doesn't stop there. Google's bots, they're always assessing, okay, user attention is shifting to mobile. Your website looks great on desktop, but how does it look on mobile? You have call to actions that appear right at the top on desktop, but where are those call to actions when a person is on mobile? And then vice versa, right? Because user attention, it can sway from one area to the next. We're always looking at that. And the infrastructure that we built, the DSS and the software that we've built, it adds to that. Tom talked about the WordPress sites. WordPress sites, the biggest thing that they're famous for is the need for having to have plugins, right? You need a plugin for your SEO. You need a plugin for website performance. You need a plugin to even design the website maybe how you want it. And what plugins are is it's blending one platform with another one. It's being able to embed the code from a different platform into your website for whatever you might need it for, right? So in that capacity, all of these plugins that have to be added to your WordPress site, it's slowing down your website. It's no way around it. The more code that you have to put in from these different platforms, and you're relying on those other platforms to also check their performance, to also have, high visibility and high user experience and all those different things, you're relying on them to have those things. So if you embed those into your site and they're not as, obsessed with their performance as you would be about your website, then you're just falling victim to slow performance, slow page load speed, and just a disoriented mobile website. We cover all of those bases. We don't do plugins. Now we can integrate with other platforms, but an integration looks a lot different than a plugin. because a plugin is affecting your website directly, and integration is something that's separate from the website. Of course, we can put some things on the site, but we cover our bases there. If it's something that you want on your site, either we build it or we find a way to integrate it in which it doesn't affect your performance. All right, let's talk about 3 pillars of omnichannel marketing. Website build and design. Now, we just talked about this a bit, right? Does how your website looks, does it really matter? Website design is crucial for branding attorneys as it directly influences user trust and conversion rates. A well-designed website not only reflects professionalism and competence, but it also ensures a user-friendly experience that keeps potential clients engaged. Key elements such as intuitive navigation, clear calls to action, or high-quality content, and high-quality content can help convey the attorney's expertise and reliability. Additionally, a visually appealing and responsive design builds credibility and trust, encouraging users to take the next step, whether it's scheduling a consultation, contacting the firm. Ultimately, an effective website design strengthens the attorney's brand, and it leads to increased client conversions and long-term success. We ran heat maps for a lot of our clients, and basically what a heat map is it's something that you can embed into the site to be able to take a closer look at what's happening when users are hitting your site. So a heat map will show it's super warm at the top because when a user hits the site, that's where their eyes are going, right, by happenstance. As you scroll down, what we often see is that it starts to get colder and colder because we see that users just sometimes don't want to scroll that far down. When they're ready to convert, they're ready to convert. So we take this information and we might say, place a call to action here right at the top because users are hitting your page. That's the first thing they see. Why don't we make it easy for them, right? We have some offers that appear right below the header. If we identify that users are really a fan of like your ebooks, whatever offer that you have, we'll place that at the top because we know that conversion opportunity is something that should be presented to them immediately. They shouldn't have to scroll down or go to a sub area on your website in order to get to that offer, because at that point, it might as well be invisible. So again, it's convenience, it's making it simple for them, it's getting them to that solution quicker. Another pillar, conversion-based advertising, right? What we saw at the top is Google is still prioritizing those paid search ads. Now, PPC, there's been a lot of just talks about it. It can I want to say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, PPC was honestly one of those things that either spread a wide net so people would know more about you, or more than likely just get you a lot of spam calls, because just the way that it was presented and the way Google really didn't prioritize it in that sense, that's what it would attract. So the jury is out on running ads in 2024. Running conversion-focused Google ads is crucial for law firms aiming to attract and retain clients in a competitive market. These targeted ads ensure that the firm's services are prominently displayed to potential clients actively searching for legal assistance and maximizing visibility and reach. Jessica alluded to this earlier, right? Say you're running not even Google ads, say you're running Facebook ads. It's important that if a user were to click on whatever link that you have supplied for them, that the landing page not only speaks to what you were speaking to on the Facebook ad or the Facebook post, but that is structured in a way that's conversion optimized, right? It has the forms somewhere at the top. It has an image of who you are as a firm or video of who you are as a firm. It has case results. It has who the team members are. Like, it has these essential attributes in order to increase customer or user conversion. By focusing on these conversions, law firms can optimize their ad spend to achieve the highest return on investment, ensuring that every click has the potential to generate new business. Additionally, conversion tracking allows firms to gain valuable insights into client behavior and preferences, enabling continuous improvement of their marketing strategies. I mentioned earlier that in the organic space, we can't always accurately predict what the user is going to type. That's where ads come in. That's where Google has spent billions on this software. The enhancements and all the upgrades that Google has added to that software, it basically is being able to assess user behavior and what their searches are. So on our side, on the website, we might say, okay, search volume for personal injury in Texas. It seems to be really high. So we're going to put personal injury throughout the website because that gets a lot of visibility in this state. What the ads are going to assess is that the user who you want to attract, they aren't actually typing in personal injury. Again, it might be because they don't even know what the term means. So for the long tail keyword searches, for their behavior on YouTube or Facebook, things like that, the software is going to assess that and say, hey, you look like a prime person to show what this ad is about. So now that you've done actions 1, 2, and 3, on the 4th one, I'm going to show you this ad because that's how I'm going to convert you. It's one of those great relationships that we've been able to mine out, because essentially the more successful that the ads are with actually converting and getting the results we want, the more that we're probably willing to invest, right? So it's not so much that Google is saying, hey, just give me all your money and don't get any results. They recognize that businesses don't want to just throw money anywhere. So for them, it behooved them to build this software to be a lot more efficient, offer a bit more opportunity for you to convert a user, because again, they know it's going to be just this relationship that needs to be successful. All right, the third pillar, channel integration. Multi-channel integration is essential for effective law firm marketing, as it ensures a cohesive and comprehensive approach to reaching potential clients, right? Let's take a look at what's happening here in Times Square. Now, we are all familiar with this, right? You go down there and it's just lit up with everything. Does Kodak think that if a user sees that, or a person sees that while they're in New York, that they're going to go on their phone, type Kodak, and say, oh, let me convert? No, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's multiple touch points. So they know that I don't need you to see TDK and just take action, right? They know that, but they know that that's just one image that's going to stay in their mind. So if they were to see TDK on Facebook, if at one point they were conduct a search for Chevrolet because they actually do need a car, it's like, oh, I actually saw Chevrolet, so I'm going to go and look at that one first. Sometimes they don't even know why they looked at Chevrolet first, but it'll be this memory that's ingrained in their mind that I just have this feeling to go look at Chevrolet cars. Well, it's because you saw it in Times Square, right?
There's that thing that if you are looking for a red car, you know what I mean? If you're looking to buy a car and you're like, I think I'm going to get a red car. If you drive down the street, you'll notice so many red cars, where before it just didn't stand out to you. But now that you're looking for it, your subconscious mind is just picking up on it. So this is a lot of it's just planting the seeds in your head, and as another touch point, right, Alexander?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and it's the consistency of it. It's like over and over and over. Yep. Because new people are popping up all the time, and you gotta keep doing it. Don't. One of the biggest mistakes is that we stop doing what works, right?
Yeah.
Like those little things that this is such an easy thing to do too. And it's such an easy thing to turn on and keep going. But you just got to stay with it. I'm just glad you brought it up, Alexander, in the way that you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we have a long-standing history with just clients and really just knowing the field. What we often see with law firms and attorneys is that they'll look at a channel and say, I did put some money into this channel, but it didn't yield. I didn't get any cases from it, so it's useless, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the case, because yes, it didn't directly get a result, but they all shouldn't, because if they were to directly get a result, it'd probably be low quality. You just want to consistently put your brand and consistently put your message in these different areas, because as we know, someone might not need a car accident lawyer today, but a loved one could get into one or something the next day, right, and then they need one. So it's about opportunity, and it's also about, hey, I'm going to make sure that you see me in these different instances, so that the minute something happens, you think of me first.
Right. You got to continue to remind everybody in the world about you. That's really what it is you have to continue to remind everybody that you're there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's say the 4 pillars to social media marketing as a law firm, right? It's content strategy and planning. This is a big one. It's all about messaging, as I mentioned in the beginning, right? As what we're talking about here. It's you want to plan that out. You don't want to just look at another law firm and say, oh, this person seems to be very energetic and outgoing in their videos and what they're posting. So I need to mimic that because I think that that's cool. You need to plan that out because that might not speak to your personality. That might not speak to the messaging that you've built as a firm, right? So you want to plan that appropriately to get the best results because you might mimic someone else and see that it's not yielding results and it'll just feel like, okay, what they do doesn't work. No, it probably works for them because they authentically are able to do that. You want to plan out your content strategy, you want to plan out your approach, and you want to implement that. Engagement and interaction. Google is not the only one that is super heavy on engagement and interaction, right? What they deem to be engagement is the user clicking? How much time are they spending on your website after they click? How much time are they spending on your Google My Business profile, right? They're looking at all those different things. Social media, they're looking at you posted something. How long did a user stop at your post to read about what it is? Did they engage on it? Did they comment? Did they like it? Did they then go to your page and follow you for more content, right? It's all those different things. And that's what builds your credibility and your strength in the social media world. So you always want to prioritize engagement and interaction. Targeted advertising and promo. Targeted advertising, we talked about it already, right? We found that if you promote, say, an ebook or something for a person to download through Facebook or sometimes Instagram, it actually does work. The person actually does want to download. They want to take some type of action because you managed to appeal to them. You just have to do it correctly, of course. But targeted advertising in the way that Meta or Facebook, Instagram, they've enhanced how you can advertise. It's not just boost a post, even though you can boost a post. It's, hey, tell me about your audience. Tell me about where geographically you want to advertise. Tell me about what your audience's interests are. Okay, let's target them. So it's a lot more, in depth now. Lastly, performance tracking and analytics. The fun part for us, but the not so fun part for attorneys because it's just numbers. But those numbers, those metrics, that's what lets us know, that's what lets you know whether or not the initiative that you took is actually working, if it's viable. In Meta or any social media platform, they're going to give you those analytics because they know how important they are. Facebook active user data. Now here we see from 2019, active users are just continuing to grow year over year, right? Facebook knows this. And because they want to appeal to those users, they're going to, it's already happening. If you look at, the order of your post, everything used to be chronological. Now it's about recommendation. Now it's about, I'm going to take a look at your actions, and then you might follow 50 different other pages. I'm only going to show you 10 because it looks like you're more interested in these 10 as opposed to the 50, right? What they're identifying is, do we want someone to just keep scrolling because it looks like out of 20 users, only 5 of them love to scroll and the rest of them just want to see something interesting and then they hop off and go about their day, right? So with this type of premise, knowing that there's so many users, active users that are consistently growing on these platforms every day, it's more important for you to maximize that and look at it as a place of opportunity as opposed to a hassle. Because we found that a lot of law firms, a lot of attorneys, they feel that social media and whatnot is a hassle. And granted, maybe it is, right? Because it takes you out of your everyday spiel. It takes you out of what you actually want to do. But again, we know users need to trust you. We know that you need to build credibility with them. So it can't be neglected. And that's what Tom mentioned earlier. All right. So what are our ideal recommendations for you? Our ideal recommendations are that you cover 4 different areas here. You need a premium website, right? You need consistent call to actions. You need your story branded approach. You need the put yourself up there as the hero if you want to be the hero. If you want your team to be the hero, then that's fine, but you need to put that out there. You need to have brand enforcing content marketing. We know that in different books we've read that tone can really shift between one author to the next, right? Same thing can be said for your content marketing. It's, yes, you're knowledgeable about a subject, but how do you communicate that to a person? How do you communicate that to a user? Enforce that brand. Organic SEO and local SEO marketing. We talked about this as well. Long tail searches, vanity keyword searches, appealing to those, as well as the local SEO, which would be your legal profile optimization and the map pack results. And lastly, conversion driven PPC advertising. The data that we've come across is that organic now feeds into PPC because Google is actually assessing both of those, right? I've spoken with quite a few, high reps over at Google, and what they tell me is that to a degree, PPC actually does positively affect organic because Google is saying, wow, this people are really clicking on this ad. They seem to have a lot of likeness and a lot of just engagement with this site and what they're promoting. So on the organic side of it, for this same keyword that they're bidding on, I might give them just a little bit more of a bump because it does seem that users are really liking what they have to present. The other part is PPC feeds organic because let's say through pay-per-click and running it appropriately, we identify that instead of personal injury lawyer being the best term in Texas, it's actually just injury lawyer because your conversions are showing that more people are converting for injury lawyer by itself as opposed to having the word personal in it. You could then take that information over to your organic side and then start to link that internally on your website as opposed to just being siloed into one keyword because that's what we're 10 years ago.
Alexander, that's a great point. That in PPC world, in AdWords, in the dashboard there, they give you a lot more information, right?
Yeah.
That you can, if you're participating in that and doing those, as Alexander said, you can take that and bring it back to your organic side. And I love that you pointed that out, and that's exactly right. Like what your PPC will help your organic will help your PPC. Like they help each other. This is how Google works. So you want to tie the knot together with this and make sure that this is all working together cohesively. I'm really glad that you brought this up and pointed this out, Alexander, because times have changed. Like this is what's happening. Like that everybody needs to understand is like these are connected now.
Yeah, absolutely. And following that, right? Now we look at a couple of things. We look at overall what the growth strategy and just what the ROI is for our clients, because again, that's what we base our whole success off of. It's your success. It's, are you actually yielding results year over year? Are you higher than where you were? If there was a bit of a drop down, could the next year we exceed that even more, right? That's our goal. We stay with you. We don't just do cookie cutter things and, hey, do this and do a set and forget. No, it's interactive. It's a partnership, and we're working towards it every day. All right. Lastly, I want to just present a client case study. So we do have a client here, right? Kenny, who went from a single office. He came in, and Tom can speak to this. Came in from a single office. He knew he had a dream. He knew he had a message he wanted to get across. And more importantly, he came to us and said, hey, I'm going to put quality over quantity, right? I don't need to build up fast. I need to build up correctly. I want to target the appropriate people. And I want to make sure I'm helping people and I'm very strong in my community, right? That's something that he was heavy into. So what we did is, Tom met with them.
He was 29.
Mm-hmm.
He's 29. He was a kid. And but when I met him, I think he was in his early 30s, right? When he was but he started his law firm early, and everybody was like, you're too young to do that. And he was like, I'm doing it. Kenny Berger. Like, what a great lawyer, great guy, great businessman. Very smart. You know what he did? One of the first things he did was, besides getting a website with us and adding content and adding organic content, that's what got him all of his great cases. He hired a CEO. He got a CEO to run his law firm. It was smart.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
like, so he could do the lawyering and the leading, but he could have somebody that understood how to run a business.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was super important, right? And Kenny is still,
Yeah.
he's still the same person today. You know, he still is
Yeah.
putting quality over quantity. He still wants to reach the right person, right?
Right.
And we want to make sure that overall, that we appeal to that, because that's his story. So he built a presence online, you know, through social media, through email, and within the community. When Kenny came to us, he trusted us with rocketing the vision that he had for his firm with that strong sense, and we designed his website with that same framework in mind that we mentioned. This team, you know, the Berger Law team, took our input, and we began spreading the right messaging and intentional marketing efforts across the state of South Carolina. And in the last 9 years, their office space, their staff, and impact upon the community have grown, and they don't plan to stop anytime soon. So it grew from single office to multiple office to $1 million settlements, to the $26 million case that was heard across the country. Because again, at Foster, we don't just talk marketing and throwing these approaches out, we actually take action, right? Some agencies might preach that vanity keywords are the answer, which again, you know, I've mentioned earlier, and others preach that marketing budgets should be invested in only one area for the best results. We know that, and by now you know that that's not the case. We know that the appropriate channels and the way they're marketing will vary from firm to firm. And Kenny recently secured the $26 million case through the implementation of a well-structured website, messaging, and long-tail keyword strategies. Our ecosystem is what yields those results. All right. So I know we're close to time here, but
You guys are doing great on time. Thank you.
awesome. So I can go ahead and this will be available to share, and I'll make sure I send it over to Jessica, so you all can be able to review it.
Thank you, Alexander.
That was great, Alexander. Thank you so much, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we've covered a lot of topics so far. We've talked about marketing myths. We've talked about how the search landscape is changing, and we've shown you the importance of omni-channel marketing. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll answer them as, you know, the presenters are talking. You can save it for the end. We'll open it up for a quick Q&A, or you can email us at coaching@fosterwebmarketing.com, and we're happy to help answer any questions you have. And just remember, we're recording this. I know a lot of people couldn't make it live, and that's okay. So we'll be sending this out to everyone after we wrap up here today. So next, did you know that 65% of law firms spend most of their marketing budget online? Well, they do, but how do you know that that money is being spent efficiently? That's one of the biggest concerns I think business owners have. How do I know that this is working? So next we have Chad Foster, who's our Vice President of Business Development. And he's going to give you the tools to check to make sure that your marketing is actually working, that the channels you're utilizing are yielding results. He's often the first person clients meet when they come on board here at Foster. So he's seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. He knows what to stay away from. He knows what you should be doing. His job is to assess your business goals, your baselines, and marketing strategies to determine the gaps and the issues that you might be having, and help develop a strategy to get you back on track and get you those clients that you want to see. So Chad, thank you. You can take it away when you're ready.
Thank you. And are you able to see everything okay? Is this working?
Looks good.
Okay, so far so good. Excellent. Okay, so I've got 7 questions lined up for us, and it's the 7 questions you should be asking your web partner. Now, I also have some bonus questions for you if you stick around, and if you stick around to the end, I've even got a couple of cool offers for you guys to take advantage of if you want. But first, a story about expectations. I want to say thank you to Tom and to Alexander for not kind of burying the lead, or for not coming in and saying, oh, hey, we're almost done. And this was probably about 15 years ago. Tom and I were up in New York for an AAJ event, and I won't mention the guy's name. Let's just say he wrote a book about the reptile brain, but he got up there, and I think we had an 11 o'clock. He had like a 10:30 spot, or we had 11:30 spot.
That was
And he
awful.
got up there, and this guy just bump, you know, it just with his southern draw and charm, and he went like 45 minutes over his time. But not
What
only
was
did he,
his name? What was his
I'm not
name?
going to say it on recording.
I don't remember. I don't
can,
remember it.
I'm sure anybody on this call is
He
probably.
wrote that. Yeah, he wrote that book.
Yep. We're not gonna name names. Just I've given enough clues. But not only did the guy run ridiculously long, but the whole time he's like, now I know with this again, this is a southern guy, you know, old school. Now I know that once I'm done talking, y'all get to go to lunch and enjoy yourselves and relax. And he must have said that a half a dozen times. And all that does is kind of plant the seed. And so everybody's starting to yawn, get their hunger pains on, and like, oh, by the way, we still have one more presenter, and that was us. And so he did us a disservice. But Alexander and Tom, you guys did not do me a disservice. So thank you very much. All right. Story time's over. Let's talk about what you're here for. So 7 questions you should be asking your web partner. Okay. And we covered a lot already, which was this is a lot of information, a lot of great detail, more than I was even expecting us to even share, which is fantastic. I'm not surprised, but fantastic nonetheless. So I am Chad Foster. Tom is my brother. Alexander is the only thing bigger than his biceps or his brains. I mean, that's fantastic. And so what we've covered so far are the importance of digital marketing, right? I think we all kind of knew it, but just because we know something doesn't mean it's not good to hear it again and just being reinforced. It's easy for us to kind of go, yeah, I know. But we got to remind ourselves, right? We dispelled some myths. My favorite one, of course, being that Google loves WordPress. No. That is WordPress shops telling tales. It is not the case. It just so happens by sheer volume that more WordPress sites perform better compared to Wix and Weebly and Squarespace, but it's not because Google prefers them. It's just there's more inputted in there. And we had a great download on omnichannel marketing. So now what we're going to talk about is questions. Number 1, what's our current marketing strategy, or what could or should it be? And really kind of how I frame these questions, guys, is what you should be asking. And so some of you on this webinar are clients, some are not. So I'm trying to phrase them so you can ask us and or your web partner. But what's our marketing strategy? What's our marketing mix? You know, what's going into it? And if you don't know, then that's a problem, right? What are we doing for content? What are we doing for SEO? What are we doing for social media? What are we doing about building out and leveraging the database? What are we doing about working in the community? What are we doing about our reviews, right? What are we doing about pay-per-click or LSAs if we want to do that? So what is the strategy if there is one? If there isn't one, well, we got to figure that out. There is, do you know what it is? And is everybody doing their job to make it work? So next, avatars. Who is my avatar? Who is your avatar? And no, I don't mean the movie. I mean the bullseyes, right? The perfect client, the perfect prospect. So avatar equals perfect client. We want to chuck a bunch of darts at the board and hope something sticks? Or do we want to be precise? Do we want to be exact? Rhetorical. I'm sure you're all answering, hey, Chad, we want to be exact. And that's a good answer. So the only way to do that is to really kind of spend some time focusing in on that, right? And so we've got a whole exercise that we can do with clients. And I'll just kind of give you the quick run through, because a garden variety perfect client exercise is simply, who do I think my perfect client is? What are they asking? Where are they coming from? Great. Market around that, guys. Okay. That's the start, but that can't and should not be the end. You got to take that and then you got to reverse engineer it. And you got to start with, what do my perfect conversations entail? What words am I using? What examples am I giving? What references am I citing, right? What does that perfect conversation include? And how do I get to that conversation? In other words, what kind of questions, situations are going to solicit those types of responses and conversations? And then you bring it all the way back to the beginning, and who is going to ask those questions to begin with? And that is what needs to go into your marketing. That's what goes into your long tail. That's what goes into your social. What goes into your PPC. That is your litmus test. And if you are not passing any of your marketing efforts through your avatar, then you're wasting time. You're wasting time and money and resources. So if you don't have this or haven't done one recently, just ask, raise your hand. We'll get it to you and we can do it with you. Next, what are our KPIs and what do they look like? Right? So KPIs, key performance indicators. Now, some of these are like traffic is one that everybody kind of thinks of first, right? Hey, what's our traffic? But traffic is a means to the end, right? You want 10,000 visitors of just garbage, or do you want 100 visitors that are rock solid? Good answer, rock solid, right? Quality over quantity, right? Jessica, you with me? Yes.
I'm with you. No, I
Thank
feel
you. Thank you. But all right, so it means to an end. So how many contacts are you getting though? What's the quality of those contacts? How are they coming in? What are the channels that are funneling those folks in? Which channels are performing better? And then ultimately what Alexander was trying to impart is you need a diversified portfolio, right? You need a diversified portfolio. So if one falls or wavers a little bit for whatever reason, it could be an update to Google. It could be an update to social media or Facebook or, whatever, right? You are not completely off balance. You are in a constant state of even steadiness that one complements the other. But you need to know what those, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. The avatars, doing that avatar exercise is going to help you identify the channels that you should be targeting first, right? Because then you'll know. We get it a lot. I'll deal with anybody. I'll take anyone as a client. Will you? Do you want to waste your time? Do you want to waste your money? Do you want to waste staff resources? Or do you want to attract that perfect client from the get-go? Okay, where are they? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Reddit? Are they watching YouTube videos? That's going to help you identify those channels that you should be targeting first.
You've been reading my diary, Jessica.
Always.
That's what I thought.
I got the key.
That's what I thought. Absolutely. Right. But what are those KPIs? And also it's establishing what your goals and your objectives are. I'll explain. We've got clients that care more about they want volume, right? They want, it's a numbers game for them. They're running spreadsheets. It's just quantity over quality. They're just running numbers. We've got clients that they don't care about the quantity. They want the quality. They'd rather have, 150 good open files as opposed to, 500 just, soft tissue stuff, right? Or high maintenance estate planning, clients, right? So it's what are your goals? Baselines, goals, budget, time, value. We'll get into all that as well. But you need to know what you're trying to capture, and then what are the indicators that are going to help you meet those goals. Okay. Speaking of meeting things, what about your competition? Now, I love this picture because he's looking over his shoulder. Like, who's behind me? We don't know who's in front of him. But what do we know about ourselves? We know that we naturally, as most of us, we look at 5 people ahead of us and go, how do I get there? How do I get to that firm? How do I get my practice to that level? But you got 25 people behind you looking at you going, how do I get to where he is, she is, they are, right? So there is that to consider. There's also the difference between perceived competition and actual competition.
The big one.
Yeah, right. And so a lot of times what we will find is, all right, so who is your competition? And then we'll do the digging like, they look good, but they got no substance. They're not getting traffic. We got ways to find this stuff out, right?
Just because you hate them doesn't mean they're your digital competition.
Right. But it's always good to keep it on a radar. Like maybe they used to date your girlfriend back in high school and like, right? Nah, I gotta beat that guy, right? Show her she made the right choice, right? I'm not speaking of anybody in particular, but point is, we can and you should kind of put those people on your radar, but at the same time, you cannot get consumed with greed and competition, because you don't know everything. And if you spend so much time focusing on what everybody else is doing, you're not worried about what you're doing and what's working and what's not. So it goes into the calculus. You got to account for it, and be competitive. That's how you win. But, check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right. Am I doing it? I love this question, by the way. Am I doing everything I can do to support you and your team? Think about the way that question is framed, because usually it's the other way around, right? What are you doing for me, Foster? What are you doing for me? Insert marketing company, right? But am I doing everything on my end? Am I showing up to meetings? Am I giving you the feedback that you need to parse through the quality of these leads? Through the phone calls, through organic, through paid, right? Am I keeping you abreast of what's going on with my practice? Am I telling you what's going on in my community, right? Am I engaged in the process, or am I a set and forget? Set and forget does not work. It does not work. So a big part of what needs to happen is engagement and communication. It's a marriage. It should be a marriage. And marriages don't work unless you communicate, right? Most marriages. Okay. So make sure your chips in. Make sure your chips in with your partner. Okay. Next, what other services do you offer that I may not be aware of? Right? We do content, we do SEO, we do social media, we do pay-per-click, we do all the coaching, we've got fractional, we do all, right? Book writing, videos, we can do all these things. Do all of our clients know everything that we do? No, it's not due to lack of effort. You hear what you want to hear, you see what you want to see, and we all kind of forget. Like, as Jessica said, like, I'm the guy who talks to most people, initially, right? So I'm kind of the gatekeeper in a lot of ways. And so what I know is I know what I talk about, right? And I know I talk about all the things that we do, but that doesn't mean that somebody's going to remember that 5 years later after being a client for that long. So,
and the same for the lawyers, right? Like, do they know everything that you offer? Do your own prospects or clients know all that you do? Just because you're so in it. It's the same thing about being nose blind. You're like, they know I do all this stuff. I do all this stuff. I'm an estate planning lawyer, or I'm a personal injury lawyer. But people don't know what they don't know unless you tell them repeatedly, consistently, strategically what it is that you do.
You mean a lawyer isn't a lawyer isn't a lawyer?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, you're a lawyer. You can do my estate plan. You can do my bankruptcy. You can do my accident case, and you can do my med mal, right? Because you're a lawyer. You guys do everything. One size fits all.
Right.
Yeah, no. Hey, but good reminders. Good reminders. Next, do you have, and this is a gut check question. Ask yourself, do you have a vendor or do you have a partner? Do you have somebody that you're just like, hey, do this, right? Are you pulling Doritos out of a machine, or do you have a partner that's working with you to meet and exceed your common goals, your goals? Right? Think about that. All right. So let's go quick recap on these 7 questions. And I've got a lot to go through, so I wanted to make sure we didn't get stuck too far. What's your current marketing strategy? What is our current marketing strategy? Who is our avatar? Have that been done recently? What are KPIs? What do those look like? How do we compare to our competition? Am I doing everything I can to support you and your team? What other services do you offer? And do I just have a vendor, or do I have a partner? All right, Jessica, how was that first section? Good?
Great.
Tom?
Yep.
Okay. So move to the bonus section, which is questions when vetting a new web partner or provider. So let's start with, do they focus primarily on law firms? Right? So when Tom was talking about myths and WordPress, yeah, WordPress is made for butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. It's made for the world, right? It's a general platform to just kind of get the conversation, get the thing going, right? But it's not really, it's not built for lawyers. It's not built for law firms. None of them are. You know, shameless plug, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, DSS is. And that's our software, right? And are they busy taking care of florists? Are they marketing florists or are they marketing law firms? Big difference. Do you want a specialist or do you want a generalist?
We just had a great example of that, of a client who came to us who their web company admittedly said, maybe we need to take some more classes. Do you remember that call, Chad? We said, okay, so go back to your web company and tell them that, you know, these are the changes you have to make. And they said, yeah, they didn't really know what any of that was. They said they're going to take some more classes because they weren't niched in that industry. And so they're like, well, we're just going to hodgepodge this together and hope for the best. But if a company tells you they need to take some more classes, that's a huge red flag. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah, and it reminds me. I had a conversation with a couple folks this week, and they got on the call and they were a little salty to begin. Right, first date, first conversation. Like, all right, so is this going to be like every other web company I've spoken to? So, well, I don't know. I guess we'll find. You can tell me at the end. And he later apologized for the saltiness, but it didn't take long for him to see that this was a different experience. And this was a different thing that he was talking about with us. So yeah, not all law firms are created equal. Not all lawyers are created equal. Not all web marketing companies are created equal. How long have they been in business? What's their experience like? Right? Have they fly by night? We were just at a conference, a couple months ago, and you know, there were 45 vendors, and I think 50 of them were web marketing companies, right? And you do the math on that. 3 kinds of people in this world, right? Those who are good in math and those who aren't. That's Tom's favorite joke. But most of them are going to be out of business in a couple of years, right? Because we've seen so many come and go. Tom started this company 25 years ago, right? He's seen him come. He's seen him go. We've seen him come. We've seen him go. Who's got the longevity? Who's got the experience? We got a lot of clients who've been with us a long time, and it's not just because we're nice. It's not just because we're cool. It's because it works. Philosophy, speaking of working, what's your approach? Now, some marketing firms out there are going to push pay-per-click. Why? Because they get commissioned on the percentage of the spend. What's the answer? How do I get more leads? You need to give me more money for pay-per-click. It's always the answer. If that's what you want, great. We obviously have a more holistic approach to marketing, which is just another way of saying omni-channel, right? But you got to find what works for you, what makes the most sense for your goals. And then how do you measure that success? And again, as we said a few minutes ago, some folks are going to be focused on volume. Some folks are going to be focused on revenue, right? I spoke with somebody last week who's got a criminal defense and PI practice. And the way he phrased it, criminal defense pays the bills, PI determines how good of a year we have. Right? That's not everybody's situation, but that's how they framed their business. So how do you measure success and make sure you're hitting those goals and laying out a realistic, reasonable path to meet and or exceed those goals? Otherwise, you're just, hey, I want to do this. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I don't know. And now you're back in Alice in Wonderland asking the Cheshire Cat, which way do I go? Where are you trying to get to? I don't know. Well, can't tell you where to go unless you know where you're trying to get to. Who will I be working with? Right? I mean, Urkel's fun and he's funny, right? Maybe you want to work with somebody like Urkel. That's fine. We get that question a lot, though. I get that question a lot. Will I be working with you, Chad? Where do you go? Who will I be working with? Will I be working with, an account manager? Do you guys have a lot of turnover? All right. That's something that we hear a lot. I was working with somebody and then they were there for 3 months and then they handed me off to somebody else and handed me off to somebody else. And just, constantly in this flux. And if you're in that state of flux, you have no chance to build momentum, really, right? And what kind of a relationship is that? You're just kind of in serial dating mode and no real consistency. So who am I going to be working with? What are their qualifications? What kind of what are the expectations there?
And I think having multiple, that's a big concern, having multiple strategists bounce around, because you don't have time to build the momentum. You don't have time to see a marketing campaign through. So when you say, oh, PPC doesn't work, oh, content doesn't work, did it not work, or did you not follow through with the plan? And maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe the agency you're with keeps bouncing around to different people. So a new person comes in. Okay, well, we're going to switch the strategy to this. We're going to switch it to this. You didn't even get to see if your started strategy had a chance to flush through. And so you're constantly going to be doing random acts of marketing, which a lot of people are. A lot of people just do random acts of marketing and expect things to happen. And that's the worst way to go about marketing. It needs to be very intentional and strategic, and having a partner and having a solid person you meet with every month that goes through this, that comes to you with ideas too, right? So I think a lot of people, if you show up to a meeting and they say, what do you want to do? What do you think? What do you think about this? Like that's concerning. They should come to you and say, based on the data, based on the research, based on your competition, this is exactly what we're doing. And you have the chance to say, okay, well, I kind of want to tweak it this way, or I like that, but can we do like this? Fine, but your strategist should come to you and say, this is what we're doing, this is our plan, and why. And so that's what you should be looking for, especially in that person.
It's a great point, Jessica. And it makes me think about the multiple coaches, right? And so we're heading into football season very soon. And, they have a lot of coaches on the field and part of the team, but everybody's got their designated job. But you got one head coach, you got one offensive coordinator, one defense coordinator. Offense coordinator has a playbook, and they're practicing those plays and running those plays to get really good at that game plan, right? But if you change OCs in the middle, or you have multiple, OCs, you've got a lot less conflict and inconsistency, and it's fractured and it's inefficient. So because that new person's going to come in and go, oh, you know what? I want to do it this way.
Yep.
And so you're just never able to kind of get a solid footing.
Yep.
So speaking of solid footing, do you outsource your work, right? Content writers, SEOs, are they going to Thailand? Are they going to the Philippines? Are they going to Mexico? Or do you have a team on staff of writers, of SEOs, of coders, of developers, right?
Yep.
So if you care about that, ask it. Who does what? This is a question we get a lot too, right? So what should I expect? And it's a bit of a loaded question because it depends on baseline's goals, budget, and time value. In other words, who does what? Do you have the, baseline's goals, budget, time value to support a service plan where we're providing, or they are providing services for and with you? Or do you need to be more of a do-it-yourselfer until you can kind of scale up and out, or somewhere in between? But who does what, and kind of getting expectations about that. How much time needs to go into our marketing or this partnership, this relationship, a week, a month? Are you expecting me to write content? You're expecting me to do the social media? Are you expecting me to come up with ideas, right? So whatever the answers are, just make sure you're talking about them, right? So you can get comfortable. All right. Do you have any secret weapons that no one else does? Do you have a Green Lantern secret decoder ring, right? Do you have a DSS? Do you have something that's different, special, better than anybody else has? That's a good question to ask, right? Again, shameless plug. We do. Okay. One more ask. Happy to share. Right? What sets you apart? And this is a simple question. What makes you unique? What makes you you? For us, it's our software. It's our experience. It's our expertise. It's our track record. It's our charming personalities, right? The total package, right, Jessica?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know if you're going to get to this, but I have to do another shameless plug because it happens to be one of our amazing team members' anniversary, and it's Joanna. And I know we have some of our clients on the call here, and if you know Joanna, it's her anniversary. So shoot her an email, wish her a happy anniversary because she deserves the kudos. Something that I've noticed in working in different systems is that support is the biggest concern. I mean, if you've worked in different softwares and you're like, how do I do this one thing? This one thing should take me 5 seconds, but now I'm on a forum, I'm on a discussion board, I have to chat, I have to send an email, I have to wait 3 to 5 business days. That's the complete opposite at Foster. You get hands-on support immediately. Before I became a part of Foster, I was a client myself, and I've worked with Joanna on that side. And I mean, she's invaluable. I would be like, Joanna, this one, and she's like, okay, I'll send you a Zoom. Let's get through it. 2 seconds later, it's done. I mean, that I think is one of the biggest things that sets us apart and something you should look for in your company. Do you have the support? Do you have on-staff coders? If something breaks, do you have someone that can fix it immediately? Not like, well, we've got to wait until it's, daylight hours in India. No, is it somebody fixing it right now? Is somebody going to be able to help me right now? Can someone train me on this right now? And not, well, send it into the queue or submit a ticket. That's a huge differentiating factor, I think, for us, and something you should look for in any company and anything you do, because when you need it and it's not there, it costs you time, it costs you money, it costs you clients. So
was talking with one of our partners just a few weeks ago, and I said, "What's the perception from your members of Foster Web Marketing?" And they said, "Exceptional customer service."
amazing.
And then went on to say, which is unfortunately not a given these days. In fact, that is the exception.
Yep.
Not the rule.
Sure.
So, what's important to you?
Mhm.
What's important to you? I can't tell you what should be important. I can tell you what should be important, but doesn't mean that it is, right? What's important to you? And then does that line up with what they can do? References, right? I can tell you all day how great I am, and anyone else can tell you how great they are, but it counts a lot more when you can hear from somebody who's walked in your shoes, have been there before, right? A non-biased opinion. So try to talk to references. What have they said? What were their experiences? Good, bad, and otherwise, right? And if you can't get references, then that's a problem.
Yes.
What if things don't work out? Do I still own my website? This question comes up all of the time. And the answer should be yes. Yes, you should never give up control of your URL or your domain. You should always own that. Absolutely. Your website, like for us, DSS, is amazing. It's WordPress and the like does one single thing. WordPress does that one thing, as well as like 10 other things that you need solutions for anyway, right? And so if you move, off of DSS, now you got to recreate all of these other things, which is so much less efficient, obviously less secure. You watch the news this morning, right? The hackers are not relenting. The attacks are not letting up, right? And they've come for us. But we have invested a lot in our security and our infrastructure to make sure that not a shred of data has been compromised by any of our clients. Kind of a big deal, right? But you should still own your website no matter what. With us, no matter what you do. But don't give up control of your website. You should absolutely have complete control. And then who is your perfect client and why? And this is kind of that 80-20 rule, right? You want Magnum to approve, don't you? Yes. Yes. I had a slide. I put a Kirk in there. I had to put a Magnum in there.
Oh man.
Right? It's shameless, I know. But you've got to stick to your avatars. And it's so important. Here's why. Okay? Because part of the avatar is the profile. Part of the avatar is personality, right? If you let in people who are jerks, if you attract those people and you let them in and they're jerks to start, they're not going to get better. They're not going to have better days. If you go out on a date with somebody and they are not, they're not showing their manners, they're not being respectful, they're not nice, they're not kind, they're not whatever. Do you think they're going to get better when they get more comfortable in the relationship? No. How are they going to treat your team, right? How are they going to treat you and your team if they can't even show a certain amount of decorum in the beginning? So, who are your avatars, right? And you're going to have different avatar profiles for each each vertical. And you might even have, like, we've got multiple avatars, right? It's not just, hey, lawyers, right? There's subsets to all of that. So don't be afraid to really kind of niche into that. Okay. But you got to commit to it. You got to commit to the avatar and then go full bore on that. Lastly, gut check. I know I'm ahead of schedule here, Jessica. I hope that's okay.
You're good.
Okay. I mentioned the formula a couple times now. We're going to go over it. Baselines. What are your baselines? Because this is how you're going to determine all of these things for yourself. Everything we've talked about today with omnichannel, with your marketing. But this all starts with, what are your baselines? Where is your practice now? Right? What's working? What's not? Who's doing what? What are the numbers? What are the baselines? What are your goals? What are you trying to get to? Right? When? How? What's your budget allow? Right? And then, what is your time worth? You and or your team. What is your time worth? If you can kind of manage the calculus on this, that'll help you decide where you prioritize. But you got to be real, right? It's gut check time on this. You got to be real about all of these things, okay? And because it's a sliding scale. All right. Now what? Now what? We've got a couple of offers for you guys. For non-clients, we're offering a free marketing analysis. If you just want to go to fwmanalysis.com or scan that QR code right now, I'll wait. You can book the appointment, and I will set up a time with you, and I will do a no strings attached analysis of your website, what I see, what's good, what's areas of opportunity for you to do with whatever you like. If you want to talk more about how we help folks, I'm happy to have that conversation too. Okay. But at the very least, no pressure. Happy to take a deeper dive on whatever you got going on so you can make some decisions from there. For existing clients, we've got an offer for a free month of coaching. That's right. Free month of coaching. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and email me, chad@fosterwebmarketing.com, and I can get that calendared for you. And little nod to Hawaii Five-0 there. All right. That's it. That's it. We're ahead of schedule, Jessica. Did I miss anything?
I love it. And as you can see, Chad has discovered that you can put stickers on PowerPoint presentations. I love it, Chad. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, we've covered a lot today. We brought in a lot of the big guns here for you guys. We want to make sure that you have, I've worked with a lot of different companies. Like I said, I was a client, and I worked with a lot of different companies, and we really believe in helping you guys. We want to give you the tools. We have, people at Foster, you can be a DIY client and do it yourself. We'll teach you how to do it. We'll teach your team how to do it. We'll show you, we'll lay it all out there. There's no, we're not hiding anything. Or if you say, you know what, I don't have the team to do this. I don't want to hire people. I don't want to deal with all of that. We have a team that can do it for you. So it's not one or the other. You choose what works for you and your team. And there's no right or wrong answer. You might start doing it yourself and get really busy and then need someone to take it over, and that's fine. But nonetheless, I was joking around with someone the other day, a client who was doing it themselves. And then they were like, I just don't have time. It's like, this takes so much time, all this marketing. And I said, it's funny. Someone once told me that marketing could be a full-time job. And it took a second, and then they laughed. And I said, I mean, you're a lawyer for a reason. That is your job. I do this as my job. It's a full-time job. It takes a lot of time. So don't do yourself a disservice and do random acts of marketing or pieces of marketing and be convinced it doesn't work, because it does work. We have tons of clients being successful. There's tons of people on different systems being successful. Marketing is marketing, and it's important that you do it. Whether you do it, whether someone else does it, it needs to get done. It's just that thing. It's like, it has to be done if you want to see clients. So yeah, please take advantage of the offers we have here. We'd love to take a look, give you a fresh perspective on your marketing from a different set of eyes. It's always different than your own team who's in it every day, just to get a fresh perspective and say, hey, we saw these things. You can go fix them. We can fix them. Someone has to fix them at the end of the day, right? If you guys have any questions, please feel free. Now you can open up. You can ask any questions you need or would like. You can also shoot us questions at chat@FosterWebMarketing or marketing@FosterWebMarketing. All of our emails here, just so you know, it's chat@FosterWebMarketing, Jessica@FosterWebMarketing, Tom@FosterWebMarketing, Alexander@FosterWebMarketing. We are all available to answer any questions you have. And if we can't answer, someone on our team most definitely can, and we'll get you the answers that you need. All right, boys, anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Alexander, and thank you, Jessica, for putting this together. And we're going to do a bunch more of them. Get the information out to you guys that you need. But yeah, thank you so much for spending Friday morning with us.
Yep. Awesome. All right, guys, have a great weekend. We'll get the recording out to you and your teams pretty soon after this. So thanks so much, guys. Have a
All
great
right,
day.
take care.
Thank you.